Hello, everybody. I'm Barry Johnson. Welcome back to Studio Talk. Well, today we're going to talk about why I don't think you should buy an Apollo interface right now. But before we get to the business at hand, do me a favor. If you like this video and you like my other videos, subscribe to the channel. Really helps me out, helps me grow, helps me get content out to more people, okay? So that being said, we've got that out of the way. Why do I think that you should not buy an Apollo interface right now? Well, I've been making some predictions about Universal Audio now for quite a few months. My last video, you can check that out. I'll put a link up over my shoulder over there, and there'll also be a link down in the description below. If you haven't seen that video, I encourage you to go watch it. It's really, I predicted a month or two ago that we would see a brand new Apollo interface this winter NAMM, which is right around the corner. Well, now I've even got news that we definitely are going to see it, and that being for sure at this point. I'll stake my reputation on it at this point. What was that prediction? Well, I think you should go back and watch that because I really go into depth about what I see coming. I did predict that they were going to go native with their Spark subscription, and then shortly after that, they went native. I also have several videos back in the day where I've been critical of the fact that Universal Audio has set on their DSP, those Shark processors, for far too long. For a very, very, very long time, and you really need a lot if you have intense sessions or you want to track, a 24 tracks all through Neve preamps, add a compressor here or there, do some other things, some EQ. I mean, you'd have to have a boatload of DSP processing power to be able to do that, and especially if you want their more DSP hungry plugins. So, they've kind of milked that for far too long, in my opinion. Now, a lot of people think because I've been critical, or maybe sometimes I give Universal Audio a hard time, that I'm anti-Universal Audio. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. I think historically, Universal Audio has been a fantastic company. I think they've had fantastic products. I just think sometimes, just like many companies, they take advantage, or they don't take advantage, but they try to get too much mileage out of it and too long without developing something new. Just because I give them a hard time doesn't mean I don't respect them or I don't even care about them. I mean, shoot, man, I give my kids a hard time sometimes. Does that mean I don't love or care about them or respect them? What about my wife? I give her a hard time every once in a while. People give me a hard time. Does that mean that I don't respect them? No, of course not. We can have both positive and negatives, things we like, things we don't particularly like at any given time. So that's been the thing. So don't think, in my videos that I'm anti-Universal Audio. I'm not. I'm just trying to shake that tree to wake it up to get it to get in the next future. Otherwise, they're going to make the mistakes that so many companies do. And they end up trying to stay in old technology for far too long, and then they get left behind. I mean, seriously, whoever really thought when Studio One came out, if anybody really take it seriously? Who thought that? Who would have thought when Reaper first came out? Oh man, there was so much criticism of Reaper back in the day. Remember, I'm an old guy. I've been at this for a very long time. And there were lots of grief given back in. Well, people love Reaper today. It's used by gazillions of people, not literally, but you get my point, around the world, and the bang for the buck is off the charts. Studio One is fantastic. Look, no software applications without its faults. None of them are. And so you have to weigh the pros and cons of what works for you. But at the end of the day, back in the day, it used to be three. It used to be Pro Tools, Digital Performer, and Cubase. And that was really it. Digital Performer, not many people use that anymore. It's mainly for scoring. Not saying it's not any good. It's just, you don't hear it talked about much anymore. Even Cubase has lost some of its luster. And I happen to be a new window user. Now I'm coming from 2 decades of being an avid TDM/HDX user, and I abandoned them because I thought that they were just gouging everybody far too long for too much money. It was just utterly ridiculous. So I left and went with something else. So at the end of the day, I like Universal Audio. I mean, they have a long, storied history, a fantastic history in this industry. That deserves complete respect, and certainly all you have to do is look at their users. They've been incredibly loyal. The Apollo users, are incredibly loyal people. So even more of a reason for Universal Audio to want to help them now. So like I said, I'm expecting a brand new Apollo right around the corner, a whole different type of workflow, completely different than what we've seen before. I think we're going to see something similar to what Avid kind of has with the Carbon, which will enable you to be able to only track through plugins when you need them in DSP, right? So you can not have to worry about latency. It's just a non-issue. But you can do that somewhat to some degree with a few plugins within Luna, but you're restricted to Luna. Well, a lot of people don't want to do that either. They want to be able to work in whatever digital audio workstation they want to. And so, to be able to do it, I also think that, their new natives plugins are not just going to be native. I think you're going to be able to go back and forth between DSP. And I think we're probably going to see a whole new DSP ecosystem that's getting away from the Shark processors, or we're going to see updated Shark processors. I don't know. But the bottom line is, they can't stay in the past. So why do I think this? Why this video right now? Well, a viewer sent me a link to a video that Universal Audio just put out yesterday. And it's really walking people through the process that if you want to transfer ownership of your Apollo hardware, as well as your plugins, walk you through the steps of being able to do that. What that clearly tells me at this stage, considering the timing of that video, is they're expecting a lot of people to put their Apollos up for sale. That's what I believe. I think they expect people, they think that either this new workflow is going to be so compelling that their loyal users are going to want to jump on it because it's the next greatest thing. And I hope they do come out with the next greatest thing. If they do, maybe I'll consider adopting Universal Audio Apollo. You never know. But so I think they're doing that. But I also know from feedback from my other videos where I predicted similar things, and their users were all upset, saying, how dare they abandon all of us? What's it going to make my existing Apollo useless? Of course it's not going to make it useless. You're still going to be able to use it as the way you bought it. So, we've got to be realistic and expect companies to evolve, right? I mean, how do you think the Apollo was even created, for goodness sakes? UAD started out with just the cards. That's all it was initially, the PCIe cards, UAD1 and UAD2. And I adopted the UAD1 way, many years ago. And so, they evolved into that. And so, there's so much out there and so much technology and there's so much competition today. You don't have to spend a ton of money to get great conversion anymore. You really don't. The number one thing you should probably be looking for is, does it have the right features you need, including I/O and the types of I/O that you need? And how stable are their drivers? How long do they support that gear? Well, I'm a fan of RME. Man, they seem to support it for longer than anybody I know, and their drivers are rock solid, So I'm not trying to sell you an RME, but these are things that are priorities to me, not some bells and whistles like, Antelope Audio. They make great conversion when it works for you. It works for some people and it doesn't for others. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that because I've done several videos and I get 50% of the people say it was a nightmare and 50% of the people say it's been great. So I don't know what to think on them, to be honest with you, but this is not really about them. But the only thing, my point I was trying to make is, man, they're constantly coming out with new interfaces. And that, to me, that's not a good thing. I mean, if you've got something that's rock solid, shouldn't that last you a few years? For me, I want an interface to last me a good solid 10 years. I don't want to be thinking about buying a new interface, okay? I just don't. Just like when I buy a computer, I want that computer to last me at least 7, 8 years minimum. So, that's why it's better to save and get that. So I think the fact that they're going over the fact of how to sell your Apollos and do the transfer of ownership and things like that, and the timing of that particular video, them also not allowing comments on that video. Now, maybe they don't allow them on any of their videos, I don't know, but that's somewhat suspicious to me if they turned it off just for that one. Again, I don't know. Maybe they do it on all of theirs. I'm just not familiar. But I did notice that because I think a lot of people would start asking some questions. But anyway, I think to me that is the indicator that's clearly telling me without question that we're going to see a redesigned Apollo that breaks away from the way the existing ones have. And I do firmly believe it's going to be a very compelling interface to the point to where if what I think Universal Audio thinks, and I think they think that a lot of people are going to be selling their Apollos, which if a lot of people do, let's say it's super compelling and a lot of people sell their Apollos, well, if that's the case, you better get yours up for sale first because those prices are going to tank pretty quickly when there's so many flooding the market. If that's the case, who knows? Now, a lot of people ask me, Barry, should I sell my Apollo right now? Should I sell it right now? I'm not going to answer that question for you. I'm just not. Keep in mind, I'm just making a prediction here. I have no inside knowledge, none of that. I'm just making a prediction, and that is it. You have to make your mind up on that yourself, and you've got to figure that out. I get the conundrum that you're possibly in. I mean, shoot, they could come out with some, they could not do anything in Winter NAMM, and all this would be for nothing. I seriously don't think that's going to happen, but they could, okay? And so you're going to have to make those decisions. I can't give you that particular advice, mainly because I would hate to be wrong and I would hate to see you miss out on something. Look, if you love your Apollo and you love the workflow and you're perfectly fine with everything the way it works right now, why sell it? It works. It works. Most people would jump to the next thing because it's the next thing. And many people may not ever even need what that next thing even offers, but they want it because it has so many bells and whistles. And maybe one day I'll use all of that. Well, maybe. Then when you get to that point where you need all of that, then do it. But we don't always have to jump on technology just because we can. Like my mama always said, Barry, just because you can does not mean you should. So anyway, so I hope you've liked the content on this particular video. I'm going to be looking forward to see what's coming out next. I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to do, and I do believe it's going to be compelling. I feel very solid about that right now. So only time will tell. Who knows if my crystal ball is right? I'm batting 1,000% so far. Every prediction I've made, not only Universal Audio, but with Avid and some others, every single one of them have been right so far. Maybe I'm just lucky, okay? Maybe I should go buy myself a Powerball ticket tonight. Maybe I will, okay? Or maybe because I've been doing this for so long that I learned to see or learn how to read between the lines in what I'm saying. And I think it's probably that more than anything else. So like I said in the beginning, if you like the things I talk about on this channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Helps me grow the channel. One thing about this channel, if you've not seen me before, I'm no BS, brothers and sisters. No BS. I'm not going to be bought and sold by any company. That's not going to happen. I tell you the real deal, and everything I do is me trying my very best to help, okay? I'm not always right. I try to be right. I try hard to be right, and I'm humble enough to admit it when I'm wrong. But I really care about this. I got a passion for this whole thing like music, and you probably do too if you're actually still watching this video at this point, all right? So I appreciate all the growth so far, but I'd like to grow it some more. I enjoy interacting with all of you folks out there. I really do, and so I appreciate it. So do me a favor, put some comments down below. Tell me what you think. Just keep it simple. It's all I ask. We can agree to disagree in this world. We don't all have to, duke it out between each other. We can just share our thoughts, and if somebody accepts them, they accept them. If they don't, okay, fine. My feelings not hurt, okay? But anyway, put your comments down below and tell me what you think. But until next time, I hope every one of you have a great day. Bye-bye.